Humphrey Bogart, born Humphrey DeForest Bogart on December 25, 1899, in New York City, entered the world with advantages many future actors never had. His father was a respected heart surgeon, and his mother, a successful illustrator who was also active in social causes, which meant Bogart grew up surrounded by education, culture, and expectation. He attended prestigious preparatory schools, and for a time, it seemed likely he would follow a conventional professional path, such as medicine or law. Yet life rarely follows a straight line. After a brief period of service in the U.S. Navy during World War I, Bogart found himself unsure of his direction. The discipline of military life contrasted sharply with the creative pull he began to feel toward the stage. That internal tug toward performance slowly reshaped his future and nudged him toward a world far removed from his privileged upbringing. Struggles on the stage before stardom. Bogart's early years in entertainment were anything but glamorous. In the 1920s, he worked on Broadway, taking small roles, managing backstage duties, and learning the craft from the ground up. He was not immediately recognized as extraordinary, nor was he handed easy opportunities. Instead, he developed a quiet resilience that would later define his on-screen presence. These formative years taught him timing, discipline, and the subtle art of holding an audience's attention without exaggeration. While many actors chase instant fame, Bogart's path was gradual and built on persistence rather than luck. Those years of modest recognition gave him something invaluable, an understanding of the profession beyond the spotlight. When Hollywood eventually called, he arrived not as a polished celebrity, but as a working actor who had already endured rejection, uncertainty, and the slow burn of ambition that shapes lasting careers. Hollywood typecasting and the breakthrough. When Bogart transitioned to Hollywood in the 1930s, he faced a new challenge: typecasting. Studios often placed him in roles as gangsters, villains, or morally ambiguous characters, rarely trusting him with romantic or heroic leads. His rugged features and understated delivery didn't fit the clean-cut leading man mold popular at the time, yet those very traits would later become his greatest strengths. His breakthrough came with The Petrified Forest in 1936, where audiences finally saw the depth behind his tough exterior. Critics began to recognize a performer capable of subtle emotion and quiet intensity. Still, true stardom did not arrive overnight. Bogart spent several more years proving himself, slowly shifting public perception. This period of persistence demonstrated not just talent, but endurance, the ability to remain committed to one's craft, even when recognition arrives late and the path forward feels uncertain. The rise of a new kind of screen hero. The early 1940s marked a turning point that would define Bogart's legacy forever. In The Maltese Falcon, 1941, his portrayal of Detective Sam Spade introduced audiences to a different kind of hero, one who was flawed, cynical, and deeply human. This performance helped establish the film noir genre and gave voice to characters who lived in moral gray areas rather than clear-cut righteousness. Then came Casablanca in 1942, the film that sealed his place in cinematic history. As Rick Blaine, Bogart revealed a layered emotional depth that balanced strength with vulnerability. Viewers connected with a character who loved deeply, yet chose sacrifice over comfort. His performances during this era resonated because they reflected the uncertainty of the times, especially during World War II when audiences sought authenticity rather than fantasy. Bogart became not just a star, but a symbol of emotional realism on screen. A partnership that softened his image. Bogart's personal life entered a brighter chapter when he met Lauren Bacall during the filming of To Have and Have Not in 1944. Their chemistry was immediate and unmistakable, both on screen and off. Despite a significant age difference, their connection felt genuine and grounded in mutual admiration. They married in 1945 and went on to star together in several acclaimed films, creating one of Hollywood's most memorable partnerships. Bacall's presence revealed a warmer side of Bogart that audiences rarely saw in his earlier roles. Their relationship humanized him, showing that behind the stoic characters and sharp dialogue was a man capable of deep affection and loyalty. Together, they built not only a successful professional collaboration, but also a family life that brought balance to his demanding career. Their marriage remains one of the enduring love stories of classic Hollywood history. Personal relationships and emotional complexity. Bogart's personal relationships were layered and at times challenging, reflecting the pressures of fame and the emotional demands of creative life. Before finding lasting happiness with Lauren Bacall, he experienced marriages that did not endure, often strained by distance, career ambitions, or mismatched expectations. These earlier relationships were not defined solely by conflict, but by the realities many couples face when navigating public careers and private emotions simultaneously. What stands out is that Bogart learned from these experiences. By the time he entered his final marriage, he appeared more grounded and intentional, embracing family life with sincerity. Friends and colleagues often described him as loyal and protective, someone who valued close bonds even if he sometimes struggled to express vulnerability openly. These personal chapters reveal a man who, like many artists, balanced public confidence with private introspection and emotional growth. Habits, pressures, and human imperfections. Behind Bogart's polished screen image existed the ordinary struggles that accompany demanding careers. He was known to enjoy social drinking, a habit common in Hollywood circles of the era, though at times it affected his mood and energy. Rather than romanticizing or condemning it, it is more accurate to see this aspect of his life as part of the cultural environment in which he worked. The pressures of constant filming schedules, public scrutiny, and creative expectations weighed heavily on many performers of his generation. Bogart was no exception. Colleagues described him as witty, sharp-tongued, and occasionally stubborn, traits that could be both charming and challenging depending on the situation. Yet those same qualities also fueled his performances, giving his characters authenticity and edge. His imperfections did not define him, but they contributed to the realism that audiences found so compelling in his work. Inner reserve and public persona. Despite being surrounded by admirers and collaborators, Bogart often maintained a small circle of trusted friends. He valued privacy and sometimes shielded his deeper emotions behind humor or sarcasm. This emotional reserve contrasted with the vulnerability he portrayed so convincingly on screen, creating a fascinating duality between the actor and the individual. Family members later spoke of a father who was caring yet occasionally distant, a reminder that public figures are rarely as simple as their images suggest. His guarded nature may have stemmed from early life experiences and the emotional expectations placed upon him from a young age. Still, those who truly knew him often emphasized his generosity, loyalty, and quiet kindness. The contrast between his reserved, personal demeanor and expressive performances added to his mystique, making him both relatable and enigmatic in the eyes of audiences worldwide. Legacy of a complex legend. Humphrey Bogart's legacy endures because he embodied contradiction with authenticity. He was both tough and tender, confident and introspective, celebrated yet private. His career left an indelible mark on film history, shaping the archetype of the modern cinematic anti-hero and influencing generations of actors who followed. While his life included challenges, habits, and emotional struggles, these elements also contributed to the depth he brought to his roles. Rather than diminishing his achievements, they remind us that artistry often emerges from complexity, not perfection. Bogart's enduring appeal lies in his humanity, the sense that beneath the iconic voice and unforgettable lines stood a person navigating the same uncertainties as everyone else. When he passed away in 1957, he left behind more than classic films. He left a portrait of an artist who turned personal experience into timeless storytelling that continues to resonate decades later.